Ringing the bell. So this is a new effect that's just been released. I got an email about it from Penguin yesterday, and I had it sent to me from a couple of fans who all wanted me to do a reaction on this. So here's the reaction. I haven't seen the video yet, don't know anything about it. About to learn all of that right now and react live with you guys. And hey, if you're new on the channel, my name's Alan. I'm a full-time professional magician. I give tips, tricks, tutorials, reaction videos just like this one. So if that sounds cool to you, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you don't miss a single video. You'll notice along this side, I keep doing this the wrong way. Sorry, honey. On this side of the screen, you'll see all my patrons. They help support this channel and bring you this awesome content. If you want to learn more about becoming a patron, you can look down on the link below. Let's get started. And hey guys, I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. That's important to note off the bat. Nobody even knows I'm doing this. I don't think I'm big enough of a channel yet for anybody to really care if I'm doing these or not. So I'm not getting any kind of sponsorships. No money is exchanging hands. These are just my honest, real reactions as a professional. What do I think about it? And is this something that would interest me or that I might want to pick up? And we got my daughter joining me along for this show. So very fun there too. Hey, honey. Okay, let's get started.
I like your rings. What's your favorite one?
Just have a lot of rings. Okay, there's the bell.
Gently, gently.
This
Nothing asleep, nothing. Gone. Look at my hand. Slowly, I close my hand. Wait.
Is he gonna do it?
Too gently, and it's gonna come back. Check it out. Oh, wait.
Ah, that drives me nuts. That drives me nuts. So, it looks like he's about to... This is the thing about magic trailers that just drives me insane. I understand that a lot of the times these cuts are done for dramatic effect, but like he has the ring in his hand, he closes his hand, she's gonna ring the bell, and if then he opened his hand and it was completely gone, that's a heck of an effect. But he cuts or I don't know if he cut, but someone cut the video right before you get to see the vanish. And so that makes me think that there's like some little little joke or something in between there to accomplish a sleight of hand. And I hate that. I mean, yeah, a lot of the time in when you're performing for real, you do have to rely on those little offbeats to get the dirty work done. But I hate that in magic trailers. I want to see the performance all the way through, and I want it to look as clean as I expect it to look. Because right now, I understand the effect to be you borrow a ring, it vanishes, and it becomes the clacker inside of the bell, which is cool. All right, great, awesome. I think that's a great idea. I think especially around Christmas season, if you are working as a Salvation Army Santa Claus, heck of a way to get somebody to maybe give you a little tip too and stop people. Great example of being able to use that right in the real world. But I want to see like a super solidly clean routine where boom, this happens, and then but I'm not seeing that yet, and I hate the cut because it tells me that that's not it. And am I being overly critical? Maybe, but I'm just talking about how much I hate that in magic videos. In the trailers, you always get this cut right before the pure moment of magic has happened. So it's implied that it's about to happen, but you never actually see it because you can't do it that way. Anyway, let's continue.
You know why the bell rings? Because there's a ring in the bell.
And that's cute, and I like the patter there. It's a cool effect too. I don't know where you would necessarily introduce a bell in a routine. Maybe there's an effect. Okay, that's cool. The video's not over, by the way. It's still playing, but there's just a black screen for some reason in between there. Anyway, there's this effect. I can't remember the name of the guy who did it, but there was like 2 packs of cards on the table. Maybe somebody can leave this in the comments down below. So it's done on Penn and Teller's Fool Us, and I've seen it promoted on Penguin. But there's like 2 decks of cards, and then it's kind of like a you do as I do, but there's a ringing of a desk bell in between each thing, and it's done as a silent pantomime routine. And then it turns out that both people have the same card. It's like a you do as I do, except more impossible and beautiful. I can't remember the name. I think it's David Parr. David Parr. Tell me if I'm right in the comments down below. But that's somewhere where I could see this bell being used. Like if you have a routine and there's a couple of different things, this would be a great way to transition from that trick, the David Parr trick, into now the ringing the bell or ring in the bell trick. So it's important to think about how you're going to introduce this prop, because this is not something that you would just carry around on the street with you normally. Where are you going to use a bell? How are you going to introduce it in your show? Why does it make sense for you to have it there? I mean, the punchline is great and everything, but why is it there? So if you have it there already as part of another effect, and then you can use it to help transition you into another effect, that's cool, right? So just things to think about. Just things to think about.
Ringing the bell is one of the best methods I've ever found to cause a borrowed finger ring to appear at an impossible location. It is fast, direct, memorable, visual, and very easy to do. Here's what happens. You ask to borrow a spectator.
Borrow a ring, right?
You cause
The ring disappears,
then
ends up in the bell.
that has been sitting on the table the whole time. You ring the bell in order to cause the ring to reappear, but it doesn't reappear. You ring it again, it doesn't come back. You ring it one more time, it doesn't come back. Then the spectator finds his ring between the clapper of the bell.
Okay, so some things that are coming to my mind right now is you probably have some limitations with the size of ring that you can use or the heaviness of the ring. Not because of the gimmick itself, but because of how much clearance you have inside of that bell. The ring may be too large to actually do the clanging. I imagine if you're using like a championship ring or something, it's going to be way too large to work in there effectively. There may also be a consideration with the thickness of the band itself and what the gimmick can grab hold of. The other part that I'm thinking about too is the liability problems. This is the same reason I have an issue with a lot of ring flights, because if you know how a ring flight is operated or works, there's a chance that you damage that ring in the process. It's low, but it could happen. Or there could be damage already to the ring, like a stone missing or something, but as soon as there's hypertension on the ring because you borrowed it, if they get it back and then notice that a stone is missing, even if it's not your fault, it's going to be your fault because you were the last one that handled it and did something weird with it. So you got to be careful with these things. Whenever you borrow something of that much value of an audience member's, you got to be real careful about how you do it or consider doing it at all. That's me. I don't do ring flights anymore. I don't borrow anybody's very expensive rings. If they have like a cheapy kind of costume jewelry ring or something, I'll do it. But I'm very, very cautious. And I also have insurance. I have $1 million worth of insurance just in case something like that happens to somebody's property, and I'm still worried about it. So something to think about whenever you're doing this. If you're clacking a ring inside of there, think about how you're approaching that and making sure you're being safe and protecting yourself and your audience's property. Okay. Any ring. Okay, any ring. They say any ring, no reels or pulls. Okay.
Ringing the bell is very easy to do. If you can ring the bell, you can do it.
I'd like to see the performance actually done all the way through so I could see, because presumably that ring has to be loaded into the bell, and I don't know how you do that. I'd like to see some kind of explanation about that. Let's ring in the bell. It looks like a cool effect. There are some things that I warned you about in the video. Be careful what kind of ring you're using, and being careful of being caught liable for a missing stone or damage to the ring. That's just stuff you should always think about whenever you're borrowing somebody else's stuff. Making sure that you're being respectful and careful with it, and that you don't get on the hook in case there's something wrong with it already. I'd like to see a full performance. It was just a lot of cuts and a lot of explanation of what happens in the trick, but why do you have to describe what's going to happen, borrowing the ring and then making it vanish and then appearing in the bell? Why describe all of that if you could just show it unedited all the way through? This is what drives me nuts. It's not like anybody can just copy the idea. This is not a downloadable video. This is not just a technique done with objects. This is presumably a special bell that you have to buy anyway. So why not show a completely uncut, unedited version of this so that we can see the routine and see how practical or useful it is in our own performances, instead of doing this weird cutting thing and having to describe the effect in a video. I don't know. That drives me nuts. Not saying that this is a bad effect, though. This is actually pretty cool. And like I said, if you had that David Parr ring the bell thing and then move, or for the deck cards thing, and then move from that to this effect, or had some other kind of way to introduce the bell so that it was a natural, normal prop already in your show, people were used to it, and then it had the secret weapon element to it where it did some other really amazing effect. This is you could close your show with this. This is really cool. But those are some thoughts that I have. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and hit the bell icon. I will see you guys next time. Cheers.